Hello ladies and gentlemen, Top Hat Gaming Man here, joined by Mr. Street to bring to you some more mediocre content on this mediocre channel. Yes, we'll openly admit that.
Yes. To be fair, it's pretty straightforward. Pretty straight down the line. Honest.
Indeed.
Honesty is.
And that's what we want.
Yeah. Right, so today on the channel we're actually going to try and do something topical.
Topical, yes.
Which makes a change.
Top-atical. Would you like that pun?
No.
Why?
Just no. And we're going to be spending a little bit of time talking about the brand new Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch.
Ah, yes. Pokemon Let's Go Lowest Common Denominator.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So at least we have a reason for talking about Switch content,
Yes.
rather than just throwing it out there and holding hands and jumping around. And,
although Switch content is the lowest common denominator on YouTube, much like this Pokemon game is in terms of previous Pokemon game entries.
Yeah, I watched the reveal trailer, and initially when I saw it pop up on my feed, I was like, oh wow, new Pokemon game, there's more information about this new Pokemon game that we told we were going to get. And I was quite excited. And then I watched the trailer.
And what did you think from the trailer?
I was a lot less excited. Essentially, it's just a slightly modified port of a mobile game.
But it has your favourite thing in it, motion controls. You love motion, motion controls.
Gotta love force motion controls.
We can get Nintendo forces us to do things with our hands we don't really want to.
Yeah, especially when you're sitting on a train looking like an idiot. Like.
Yeah. Imagine that, so you're going to have this Switch in your hand and you can have a ball as well and doing that on the train.
That's another thing as
well.
Like
some loony fisherman.
Yeah, that's another thing as well. You said about the ball in your hand. Yeah, your forced peripherals as well, or like abstract peripherals that Nintendo like to throw out there.
So now if people want to play this game, they can all look like giant children walking around with toy Pokeballs.
Yeah. And this is the dream that I remember having when I was a kid, about having a Pokemon game that you can actually have a Pokemon in your hand and like throw it. But you can't throw it, you just kind of swing it in your hand and don't let go, because if you let go...
Like the most useless ball in the world.
Yeah.
A ball you can't actually throw, you just simulate the throw.
Exactly. So it's ball throwing simulator.
That sounds like bull crap. It literally is bull crap.
See, that was a nice part.
Thank you.
No worries. Yeah, so that's the thing, like, you've got a big TV, which you're going to be playing on, potentially, and it's a kid's game. We're going to put that out there, it's a kid's game. And you're going to give them this plastic ball that you can pretend to throw at the TV but not. I can see a lot of broken TVs. It's like the Wii, the first lot of Wiis that came out all over again.
It is, yes.
The broken TV screens. That's going to be flooding our Twitter feeds very soon.
It's just this Pokemon game. It just looks so odd to me. Like Pokemon, isn't it meant to be a JRPG? It's the main point is, like any JRPG, is to go on an adventure and have lots of battles. Is that not the main point of JRPGs?
Yeah. And now you're not even having, or from what I can see from the trailer, you're not even having battles anymore. It follows exactly the same structure as Pokemon Go. You just throw balls and berries and stuff at it until it works. But essentially, it's the Safari Zone.
I don't really understand, because Pokemon Go was awful, and the only reason people played it was because it was for free. I don't think anyone would have played it if they had to pay for it, would they?
I think there's a handful of people. I mean, in our local area, there was quite a big following. I don't know if you ever went into town, but there was loads of people at its peak, wandering up and down the seafront.
How long did this peak last?
A couple of months. There was still lots of people about, like, and they were spending money, and they would,
I was
microtransactions.
Yeah, I think when Pokemon Go came out, I'd already gone on my travels. And I lived on an island with no 4G, so they didn't have Pokemon Go.
Yeah. So, to be fair, I'm surprised that should have been the best thing about that game. The fact that you can take it away with you and play it elsewhere and catch Pokemon from all around the globe.
Most of the planet doesn't have 4G, so it wasn't functional around most of the globe from my experience. So when they say you can play it all over the world, that's a complete lie, because most of the world didn't have the technology to be able to access Pokemon Go.
I think most of the world might be a bit of a stretch, but a decent amount of it, and especially where you went when you were travelling.
No, the only places you would have been able to play Pokemon Go would have been the highly developed, westernised countries. Nowhere else. To call it a thing for the globe, no, that was a lie. It was made specifically for the West, and obviously the four tigers of the East, like obviously Japan, Singapore, those sort of countries.
Yeah, no, I can see that being a thing, and it's a shame, because the idea of it was very good. If they had an appropriate battle system in that game, it would have been decent.
Although, going back to the battle system, they do have the battle system in this new version of Pokemon, from what I've seen.
Yeah, okay.
But it's only for when you're battling other trainers in the game. It's not for capturing Pokemon.
Yeah, which ruins it for me a little bit. It kind of makes it a little bit redundant.
It does, doesn't it? And that's another thing about Pokemon Go I didn't like as well. It's a game where you just catch Pokemon. Like, catching Pokemon was always the smaller part of a JRPG. That was the meta game. That was the bit what was bolted on top of the main game. So you would catch your 6 Pokemon and train them up. That was what you were really doing. You were just enhancing 6 specifically. It wasn't you catch them all once you finished with the game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where Pokemon Go never gave you that opportunity.
It was post-game.
It just gave you the crappy post-game experience. It's not weren't a crappy post-game experience. It gave you just the inferior post-game experience, not the main bulk like the actual game.
There's no real story. I mean, again, there's a lot of parallels between that and No Man's Sky, where it released and wasn't what it should have been, and then they bolted loads of stuff onto it to try and fix it, and eventually ended up with something that was almost playable. But by the time that they got around to doing that, there was no players.
Yeah, I just couldn't get into Pokemon Go. It was just too basic for my liking. Like, it seemed to be a much smaller, more inferior experience to any of the actual mainline games.
Yeah, I mean, it was good in a way. That it had some good aspects to it, like the fact that you had to go out, which I think was important. That's an important part of the experience. So you had to go out and specifically find things without hacking it or going around, because you can do that, right?
Can I say another thing as well regarding this Pokemon Let's Go lowest common denominator that's coming out? It's the fact as well, what I don't like about it is you can only catch, from what I've seen, the first 151 Pokemon and have to battle with those. You got to think, how long ago did Pokemon Red and Blue come out? Like over 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Why are we not all bored out of our minds of those Pokemon? I'm sick of the sight of seeing them. I've seen those Pokemon in every single game and it's doing my head in. So to not be able to play as the Pokemon I've played with less because they've been in less games, I've got to go back to the ones I'm sick of. That really annoys me.
Yeah. See, I don't particularly see that as a problem.
I'm bloody sick of the sight of those.
I do like the original ones. It's a very nostalgia-y thing for me, personally. So I kind of like that aspect of it, going back to the roots of the game.
But going back to that time period...
Because they run out of stuff to do.
What do you mean they run out of stuff to do?
They run out of Pokemon to invent. Like...
Are you taking... I hope this is a joke, Mr. Luke.
No.
It's not a joke?
No, they did. Right.
Okay, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I think this statement he's just made is absolutely outrageous. There's 7.8 million species of animals on planet Earth, but you're saying they can only think of 700 Pokemon.
Right, okay. Can you please explain to me the reason for Garbodor?
Can you please explain to me the reason for Bellsprout?
What I'm saying is, because it looks like a plant. That looks like a pile of rubbish. What's the point? Right,
okay,
the
Muck.
other one. Muck. Okay, Slime Ball. I can't remember what it's called.
Voltorb.
The chandelier thing. Chandelure? Is that legitimately what it's called?
Yes, Magnemite.
Magnets.
Chandelier. So we're doing the same thing, aren't we?
No, they're just inanimate objects.
So's a magnet, in terms of the Magnemite.
There'll be Sofa King soon, and it'll literally just be a giant sofa with a mouth. It's so fucking stupid.
Yeah, but the old ones are equally as stupid. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think so. But again, is that nostalgia talking?
Yes, it is from you, I think, because there was loads of Pokemon that looked like absolute crap, which you didn't want to use. Mr. Mime, come on.
Mr. Mime looked like a mime.
No, he didn't. He looked like a sex offender.
Okay, yeah, he did look a bit like a sex offender. Jinx.
We're not even going there with that.
Oh, I was trying to lure you in. I wanted you kicked off the channel for having a go at me about my original 151.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so but okay, there was a point I made earlier that I'm going to come back to, and that's that Pokemon Go got people out of their house. Is Pokemon Let's Go lowest common denominator a way of doing that, but for lazy people, so they don't have to get up?
But then, if the purpose of the other one, Pokemon Go, was to get people out of their house, well, you're saying this one is a game to stop people leaving their house.
To allow people to get the experience of leaving their house without leaving their house.
I don't know. I just don't know. All it looks like to me is let's appeal to the big market who know what Pokemon is but can't be bothered to do any research and get into it properly. The people who had to at a glance at the first 150, and then that's as much as their interest goes. The lowest common denominator.
The annoying thing is,
the least sophisticated part of the fan base.
I think this game will sell.
It will sell because those people are the lowest common denominator. They're not sophisticated.
I think it will sell well to kids.
The lowest common denominator.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with
Yeah.
you here. I'm just reiterating. I'm just saying your point. I think it's going to sell really well, and I think they'll probably end up making another one.
What do you mean?
I think there'll be another Pokemon game exactly the same as this
Probably
one in 2-3 years' time.
It's just again, it's the experienced gamers often get left behind, I feel, by these companies.
I was really worried that this was going to be the big Pokemon release.
And that's coming
on
2019.
Yeah, I'm really glad. But I thought this was going to be it because there were rumours about changing the battle system, and I thought, is this what they've changed it to? I panicked because I want to get back into Pokemon. I haven't played a Pokemon game that I really enjoyed since Ruby Sapphire.
I enjoyed all of them, but I'd say Ruby and Sapphire are the ones I personally enjoyed the least.
Really?
Yeah.
That's why
you. That's to be fair. That's what you said. Was that the last one you played or the last one you enjoyed? Did you say?
Last one I played. I stopped playing after that.
Exactly. So it can't have been very good. You must agree with me. It wasn't a very good.
I enjoyed it at the time, but yeah, no, I don't think I didn't have as much joy as with.
But do you know why it rubbed me the wrong way?
Go on.
Ruby and Sapphire, and looking back, probably for the same reason as you.
Go on.
The lack of Pokemon. There was 386 Pokemon in existence, but they only included 200. That was irritating.
Yeah.
We've been told we've got to catch them all, and then suddenly we can't.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with your point. It was frustrating. And I don't mind, like, when you moved to a new area, and it was like, if you had a whole lot of new Pokemon, that was all you could get.
So it felt like
a
progression from Gold to Silver, where you went from 150 to 250, then you suddenly had 200 in the next one. It felt like a step back. So to me, this new game, Pokemon Let's whatever it's called, it feels like a massive step back because they've gone from 700 plus Pokemon down to 150. So you're getting this little tiny game in comparison to what we're used to.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have minded so much if, like, you had the first 151 or whatever it was in the first game, and then another 100 in the next one, and you could either catch all of them or just the extras and do it that way. But the fact that it was throwing some of the old ones in and then some of the new ones in different ways annoyed me. I think that was a bit stupid. Anyway, we're kind of digressing away from our point a little bit and talking about the popularity of Pokemon and why we don't enjoy it. The Switch, Pokemon Let's Go, lowest common denominator on the Nintendo Switch. It's a stupid game for lazy people.
Yeah.
There's not enough content. Flawed battle system and catching system. It seems like they've run out of ports. So ports of Wii games and Xbox games and PlayStation games, and they've started porting mobile games now. We're going to have the new big Mario release soon coming out. It's going to be Mario Run for the Switch.
You won't surprise me. Or it's just going to be Angry Birds for the Switch.
Angry Birds for the Switch,
or Flappy Birds for the Switch.
Yeah, re-release.
Temple Run for the Switch.
Yeah, is that seriously what they're doing?
Candy Crush Saga.
It just seems ridiculous. And I'm going to point out, just so I know, there is functionality between the mobile and the Switch version.
Oh yes, that looks horrible. Don't want to go near that.
Exactly.
I've not even got it on me, but mobile phones, they're awful devices for gaming because they can only just about handle like watching videos and social media.
Yeah.
But if you watch social media, if you go on social media on one of these, it only lasts a couple of hours. So if you actually try to run apps, it's going to die. You're not going to get to make phone calls, so it's stupid.
Yeah, no, pointless. Thank you. I know you like your props.
Thank you. Yes, I needed something.
You needed a prop.
Tactile.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I think we've covered all of our bases here. Do you want to do the outro?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think of this upcoming game, and let us know whether you are just as sceptical about this one as we are. Cheerio!
I'd like to give a shout out to our first ever patron, Michael Keneally. Thank you so much for your support. It's really, really appreciated. And if anyone else watching would like to contribute through our Patreon, we have a link in our description.